Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to start here any second. I just wanted to make sure everybody's logged into the room. All right, I think we're going to begin for the sake of time because we only have about an hour today. Melissa, can you hear me okay? Just want to make sure everybody can hear me. Okay, sounds
All
great.
good. Slides look good.
Okay, thank you. Thank you guys again for joining us today. My name is Robyn Rowan. I am the program manager for the Northwest Commission's APEX Accelerator. We're located here in Northwestern Pennsylvania. Today we are going to be discussing the topic of the DLA, the Defense Logistics Agency's Joint Certification Program. I want to thank all my APEX Accelerator colleagues out there across the nation for your support with this advertising and getting this out there. I much appreciate all that assistance. I have been assisting clients for many years with this application. Back in the days when it used to be a single page document, the DD 2345 form, everybody would call it. But now, due to so many security requirements, we are seeing a much more complicated process, which is one of the reasons why that I decided to put this training piece together, as well as develop tools to help our clients not only get through the process successfully, but also help them understand from a 30,000-foot view that what the process looks like. It's not just simply filling out that form anymore. There are several steps to accomplishing this task. So with today's session, it's based on my experience, me and my staff, and we had been working with our clients on this process. So it's based on our experience in working with clients. This just disclosure, this information that I'm providing here today is no way to be construed as the most accurate of information, because I do not work for DLA, JCP. I only know what I know from my experience. But that said, I am very pleased to announce that today we have representatives from the DLA's JCP office on call with us today. So I'm hoping that they will answer some of your questions, chime in whenever they have some extra insight on some of the things I'm saying, and provide you with the most accurate information. This image here that I'm showing you right now is something that I developed about a year or so ago after clients were coming in and asking us for assistance, but not realizing that there were all these extra steps to this process. Some were becoming very frustrated with us because I don't believe we were conveying the message from the start that there were all these extra steps. A lot of times, my client would come to us and tell us that a prime contractor came to them and said, "Hey, we need to fill out this JCP form, this DD 2345 form." But then, we would help them and they wouldn't realize that there's all these extra steps to doing JCP now. So I have this image I created. So I have my staff actually show this to a client when we first start working with them, so they get a better understanding of what is all involved, and they're not surprised when they understand that there's all these extra steps now. So and they understand that when we tell them that, that the next step is coming up, that they have an idea of where they're starting and where they're going. So I also have this image in the JCP checklist manager tool that I have developed. This is a tool that I've also created to help our clients get through the process, and I will be introducing this tool later on today. So here's a brief description of what we're going to be talking about today. First, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of an overview of what an APEX Accelerator is. I'm not going to go through my entire PowerPoint slide deck on what is an APEX Accelerator. I'm just going to give you a little snapshot of what we are, who we are, what we do, because it takes a little bit longer. And I know we only have about an hour today, and so I want to get as much in as I can. But I have some important information on there about the APEX Accelerator. And then I'm going to give you also a brief description of what the Joint Certification Program is, But I'm not going to go very far into those details because JCP also does a training on this. As a matter of fact, they will be conducting a training on October 24th. If you're interested in that, let me know and I can get you the link to sign up for that. My objective for today's training is to really give you some insight on what our clients go through, what I've seen in the past, and how we've overcome some of those barriers and getting through the process, as well as I'll provide you with that tool. I want to show you the tool and how to use the tool that will help you guide you through that a little bit smoother. Today, we'll have a Q&A section. You can use the Q&A function on your Teams if you would like to ask a question, or you can put something in chat. We're going to try to monitor all of that. However, I would like today's webinar to be a little bit informal. So if you do a question, I may try to figure out how to wait to unmute you towards the end so you can ask your question, and we'll see if we can get that answer for you. So, and that's only if we have time too. So a little bit about the APEX Accelerator program. We are a nationwide network of procurement professionals that help local businesses compete successfully in the government marketplace. Our 90+ accelerators operate in more than 300 offices, and we serve as a bridge between those government buyers and U.S. suppliers. The result is to increase the participation that delivers leading solutions to the military and other government users. So here's a little bit, some information about the APEX Accelerators. We're under that Department of Defense Office of Small Business Programs. That was a recent change. We used to be called PTACs, Procurement Technical Assistance Centers, but now we are called APEX Accelerators. We play a critical role in the department's efforts to identify and engage with a wide range of businesses entering, participating in the defense supply chain. The program provides the education and training that all businesses need to participate to become capable of participating in DoD, the Department of Defense, and other government contracts. We assist companies in doing business with federal, state, and local governments, not just the DoD. Here's a QR code that you can use to go to our national website. If you're a little tech savvy, just take your phone and bring this up with your camera. I've also provided both of the links here for our Department of Defense site, and then also for our National APEX Accelerator Alliance membership site, where you can, both of these sites have search filters to find your APEX Accelerator. To identify that center that serves your location, you will begin by searching by the state that your company is located in, and then you'll narrow it down the results by county. This will help you ensure that you're connected with the appropriate regional office that can provide the tailored support and services and resources that you would need. If you want to do business in a different state, you will always work with the APEX Accelerator that's located in your backyard. We all have prearranged contracts with the Department of Defense to serve specific regions. If you reach out to one of us and we do not serve that region, we'll be happy to assist you in getting connected to the appropriate center. No worries. We have, and just in case I didn't mention, our services are free, so we can get you connected to that. Here is the Department of Defense's new mission statement for APEX Accelerators. But really our main focus and mission is to help the Department of Defense increase the defense industrial base in the regions that we serve. The DoD has seen a huge decrease, about a 40% decrease in the last decade in the number of businesses doing business with the government. Contract dollars go up, the contract dollars are going up, but the number of businesses getting those contracts has gone down. So it is our job and our mission to really help bring that number back up. Why are APEX accelerators needed? With all the complicated systems, such as registrations like your SAM, System for Award Management, registering for that federal government, or registering at the state systems, finding opportunities, certifications like the woman-owned, the veteran-owned, Hub Zone, 8A programs, certification like today, talking about the JCP certification, understanding some of those regulations and requirements, understanding the FARs, the DFARs, those are your federal acquisition regulations, finding opportunities. There's a huge learning curve, especially if you are new to government contracting. This takes a huge time and financial commitment, whether you hire someone to be in charge of your government contracting efforts, or you do this yourself as the company owner. We are here to train you and your employees. We help you break down those barriers to entry, which is in turn helps you save time and money for your company. Even if your company has a history of doing business with the government as a prime or a subcontractor, the government changes its systems, its rules, and regulations from time to time. Your Apex Accelerator is trained to stay on top of the latest and greatest information. So why not work with us? We are one of the best tools in your toolkit. I will guarantee that. If I don't know the answer, and a lot of times I don't know the answer, I reach out to one of my there's over 700 colleagues across the nation. I call them my phone a friends. Somebody out there knows the answer, so we understand where to find the answers, and we'll guide you to finding those answers and finding the right person to handle it. So I've been doing this job for about 13 years now, and I feel like I have a lot of information in my head, but there's still so much to learn, and the Department of Defense requires us to know so much to help companies. So let's begin on the topic of today's discussion. What is the U.S.-Canada Joint Certification Program? Again, I'm not going into major details on what it is or why it's here, but I'm going to give you some brief information. The JCP is the process of obtaining certification through the JCP, which permits the U.S. and Canada entities access to military technical data, which is not available to the public. And this is related to defense research, defense manufacturing, and government contracts. Eligible entities must be registered their companies must be registered in the United States or Canada and demonstrate a legitimate business need to access that unclassified military technical export control data. Additionally, there's criteria will apply under another program, the DLA's enhanced validation processing, which we're going to break that down here in a little bit. When is JCP needed? Well, bidding on, here's several examples. When you're bidding on a DoD, a Department of Defense opportunity in SAM, you might notice that when you're looking at that SAM opportunity with the solicitation documents, they might all be locked. They might have like a little lock symbol located on that notice in SAM. This typically means that those documents are not available for public release, and JCP is required. A lot of times, companies will come to us. This is probably a majority of the times that I'm assisting a company because they're working with a prime contractor and they're a subcontractor working with a prime that's doing direct work with DoD, and they're requiring them to have JCP in place, a part of their sharing some unclassified documents that they need to share with that subcontractor. So they'll ask them to get JCP. Another reason JCP is needed is if you're going to be bidding on any Defense Logistics Agency DIBBS opportunities and downloading those technical data packages from seaporters, there are restrictions that might require you to have JCP in place. You might be conducting some research and development that has JCP requirements, maybe possibly attending conferences, workshops, etc., where militarily critical technical data will be discussed. Or maybe you're you're submitting some kind of a white paper, and those submissions require you to have JCP to get access to certain technical documents. Here's a important notice that I wanted to mention. JCP on their website, they have an FAQ, and here are some really important requirements for if you do want to share data that has JCP requirements. I thought it was really important for me to mention this, and there's a link. And by the way, you will be getting a copy of this PowerPoint presentation today. And immediately after today's training, you will automatically get a link to the recording so you can come back and look at this. So again, a lot of the things that I'm going to be talking about today are things that we've experienced, what our clients have had issues with or concerns or questions on. So I'm highlighting some of those important facts today. So a lot of people will come to us, they don't understand what is the difference between the JCP standard type and the JCP enhanced type. So here are some definitions. The difference really between the two really is that the second one, the DLA enhanced validation, gives you access to the DLA DIBBS opportunity, meaning you want to do business with the Defense Logistics Agency, and those requirements are asking for JCP. So that's really the only difference. You would need to have both in place if you are going. You would have to have the first one in place if you're going after the DLA DIBBS opportunities. Some of the companies coming to us never heard of DLA DIBBS. I'm usually surprised when they come in. They're just usually subcontracting to a prime. So one of the things I like to do is give them a little overview of the DLA, because they don't know what they might be missing. If your company has capabilities to manufacture certain items, you also might have the capabilities of supporting some work that DLA, some of those things. So we're going to talk a little bit about that here now. So DLA stands for the Defense Logistics Agency. It is the U.S. Department of Defense's Logistics Combat Support Agency, responsible for managing the entire global defense supply chain for all 5 military services, 11 combatant commands, and also the partnering nations. DLA supplies our warfighters all over the world. The Defense Logistics Agency, Land and Maritime, Aviation, Troop Support, and Energy are usually the 4 major commands that we as APEX Accelerators typically assist in doing business with. So you will see on the website here, the screenshot that I provided you. This is the DLA DIBBS, their homepage. You will see under solicitations, there is a place called Request for Quotes or Request for Proposals. The requests for quotes are typically opportunities that are under the simplified acquisition threshold of $250,000. And then there's the RFPs, the request for proposals. Those are typically over that SAT threshold. Your APEX Accelerator can assist you in navigating through this website and getting registered and all the above, helping you understand how to get through there. And here's a link here that'll take you right to that. Another important highlight that I wanted to mention, because this is another gray area for our clients. The expiration timelines of the JCP. The JCP standard type has a 5-year expiration date, but the JCP DLA enhanced validation has a 3-year expiration date. And there were some very important special notes on the website that I thought were important for you to know. So I'm going to read these off to you. And you will find this on the website. The enhanced JCP is valid for 3 years unless information concerning that entity has changed. If so, then the entity would need to initiate a JCP application revision. And I'm going to be talking about that in a little while. If when requesting the enhanced certification and your JCP certification expires within 3 months, a new 5-year renewal application in your JCP portal will need to be initiated. When filling out that JCP application, there are specific questions that will allow the enhanced validation application to be applied concurrently with your JCP application. So these are some important things that I thought were important for you to know. Another question that we get often is, what is a data custodian? The data custodian is the person within your company responsible for making sure that the appropriate safeguards are in place to protect the unclassified export-controlled technical data received by the U.S. Department of Defense or the Canadian Department of National Defense. You must be a U.S. permanent or Canada citizen. This person must be knowledgeable of the distribution statements, which we're going to talk about on the next slide. And you must work for the company, which is another part of the confusion. A lot of times companies will go out and hire a third party to manage they'll try to hire a third party to manage their certification, and you cannot do that. That will not work. If your company has other facilities or locations, this has always been a question of my clients. I was able to find this information on the DLA's website, but if I'm wrong on this, I hope one of the DLA representatives will speak up. But from what I found is, if your company has other facilities or locations, you will need a data custodian for each of those locations and a separate JCP. Another question that we get quite often is, what is a distribution statement? Distribution statements are markings on technical documents that specify authorized levels of secondary distribution and release, indicating who has access to the information and why. Here's a link on this slide that'll take you to more information about distribution statements. However, You will also find that on another requirement, and we're going to talk about that in the next slide as well. The distribution, I'm just going to give you a little bit of example. The first one, distribution statement A, which means these docs are publicly releasable, meaning they are not considered controlled unclassified information or controlled defense information. If it has a marking A, anyone in the world can see these documents. Sometimes you will see these markings on DoD slides. If you're participating in a DoD webinar or training, these documents go through an approval process from their respective agencies on whether or not they can be released to the public. Also, distro A can commonly be seen on DoD memos or instructions. And then from there on, the other letters, B through F, you'll get more restrictions on who can have access to those documents. An example could be controlled unclassified information, which we're going to talk about in a minute, technical drawings, contract performance reports, export controlled documents, patents, proprietary information, etc. These will usually include these other letters or markings that are on this document. So that's what you want to look for when you're looking at documents, as what kind of a level of you're authorized to release them or not. So those are what you're looking for. You can find these definitions again on this link that I sent you, or you can also find these definitions on the form. This next form, we're going to talk about the introduction to proper handling of DoD export controlled technical data. So this is a part of your JCP application. You would have to review this document. It's a PowerPoint. The data custodian of your company will need to review it. And then there's a page 15, which I'm going to show you next on our next slide, that you would have to fill out and basically self-attesting that you went through this this PowerPoint. And this is what page 15 looks like. And the reason I bring this up is this is another, when we work with clients, I can't tell you how many times a client has been either rejected or it's held up their application approval because they missed something on this form here, page 15. And here is just some most common mistakes that will get your application rejected or delayed. They forget to check one of these boxes on this form. They mess up the cage code. They miss a number on their cage code, or they forget to put it in there. This is probably the biggest thing, is they don't match their company's name with their SAM or their cage record. It's basically your cage record that you have to look at. They might miss the LLC or the Inc. When they're filling this out, and that gets them delayed. And so I like to highlight these kinds of things, because the more we can get you to do it the first time, the faster you can get through the approval process. Sometimes people will forget to put the date on here, and then sometimes the signature does not match who they listed as the data custodian. So I just wanted to give you a little overview of what things not to forget to put on this page. Again, this page is in that PowerPoint. You would have to scan this page, print it out, fill out the information, and scan it, and then it goes into your application. Another question, non-common question or concern that we get is, what is export controlled documents? Export controlled items are goods, technology, software, or information that are subject to the U.S. federal regulations, such as the Export Administration's regulations, better known as EAR, or the International Traffic in Arms regulations, better known as ITAR. Because their transfer outside the U.S. or to a foreign person in the U.S. could impact national security, foreign policy, or economic interests. I have provided you a link for more information about export control documents. However, if you are doing DLA work, a lot of times our companies will ask us, when we're doing Defense Logistics Agency work, how do I know if these bidding opportunities that I'm looking at have export control technical data? So what I usually require my clients to do, or I suggest, is to perform a search. You can open up the solicitation. The solicitation is not usually locked. So you can open that solicitation up and then use your search find function and put the word export in there. And that word export will usually, if there's export control technical data in this opportunity, the DLAD procurement RQ032 will show up in that solicitation. And it kind of looks like this. Just kind of highlighted what you might see if you go in there. Another common concern or question that we get are on the cybersecurity clauses. This is one of the first questions that you will have to answer when you start your JCP application. What is the DFARS 252.204-7008, 7009, and 7012? I'm not going to give you a cybersecurity DFARS cybersecurity training today, because that could take at least another hour to 2 hours long. I do provide one of those trainings for you every now and then, but just a little overview here. 7012 is basically requiring you as a contractor to safeguard covered defense information in cyber incident reporting, that you're providing adequate security and incident, and you're conducting incident reporting if you've been compromised when you're working on a DoD contract. There is a link at the bottom here that actually takes you to the full information of these requirements, just so you know. The 7008 clause is basically ensuring that you understand the 7012 clause. It's really nothing more than it's basically the same thing. It's just making sure you as the contractor understand that the 7012 clause exists. The 7009 clause is limitations on use or disclose of a third-party contractor. This typically we do not see our manufacturing companies. If you're a manufacturer here today, this clause usually does not pertain to you. This clause is cybersecurity companies maintaining government systems, managing incident response, cleanups, analyzing security monitoring, or government reporting, etc. So it's usually companies that are managing things on behalf of a government agency. So this does not typically pertain to manufacturing companies. However, I do have a question today, and I'm not sure if one of my the DLA JCP office representatives that are on here today can answer this question. This is something we get a lot, and I do not have the answer to this. So the question in DLA, the question is, this is the first question that's asked on the application. Are you in compliance with the DFARS 7008, 7009, or 7012? If you say yes to this question, and then later on, you have to also self-attest in the SPURS system, and you have another question that says, are you in the SPURS system? My interpretation of the 7012 is that you have all 110 controls from the NIST 800-171 in place. But in the SPURS system, you are actually self-attesting to your to those 110. A lot of my clients are not at 110, so they will enter their score and it'll be lower. So are we not contradicting ourselves if we're saying yes to the 7012 clause, that we're in compliance, but then later on we have a SPURS score that's less than 110? How does DLA handle this? Do you have any guidance to help companies on here today on how companies should comply with these two questions? Anybody willing to speak up?
Yes. Hello, everybody. This is Dante, liaison of the DLA joint JCP office. Regarding the NIST assessment, we don't require a maximum score. We just require that the assessment was completed with a score. And then also, since the NIST assessment has to be renewed every 3 years, that gives entities time to improving their score. Even though 110 is the maximum, it's not required to have that score. It's just a completed assessment / score. But you do have 3 years prior to renewal to work up towards improving your score for the next when you renew for the next 3 years.
That's great. Thank you, Donald, for giving us that guidance on that. Appreciate it. Okay. All right, so we are going to move into the checklist manager now. For more guidance and tips, I will be revealing as we go through that checklist. Note the checklist manager. I just wanted to give you all disclosure on this as well. The checklist manager that I've created this is something that I've created on my own. I will be distributing this to all of my Apex Accelerator centers across the nation. I will not be providing this checklist manager to all the attendees on here today. So if you are interested in receiving a checklist manager, you will need to contact your Apex Accelerator for this. I will be sending out a survey right after today's session. And on that survey, you will be asked to give me the state that you're located in, the county that you're located in. If you know your Apex Accelerator, go ahead and list that in there as well. If you don't, I just need that county and that state. And then I will be sending the checklist manager to that Apex Accelerator center. So you can receive that from them. And you're going to see why, because I would like companies to actually work with your Apex Accelerator with this manager. It just helps break down some of the application process and makes it a little bit smoother. So that's why we put that out there. If for some reason I can't get you connected to an Apex Accelerator, just reach back out to me and we'll see what we can do to get that started. Before we look at the checklist manager, I wanted to show you again a view of all the tasks that are required to accomplish JCP. And this is a part of the manager. But before we go into it, these are all the tasks that I have included in the checklist manager. Another thing that I wanted to not forget to remind you of, and because I'm going to be switching from the PowerPoint over to it's an Excel document. This is one part of the checklist tasks is to, if you are a manufacturing company, and we've seen this many times where companies are denied their JCP approval or it's held up because their cage record indicates that they are not a U.S., Canada, or a U.S. or Canada manufacturer. And this is process it goes through when you're in your SAM record. You would have to initiate that through there. You'd have to complete that. And some people will click the wrong button and it comes up that they're a non-manufacturer. So if you are a manufacturing company and you are telling the JCP that through your application that you're a manufacturer, and you don't have this listed, this will hold up your application. So this is based on our experience. JCP may have something else to say on this, but based on our experience. So here's a link that'll take you to the cage records where you can actually put your cage code in there and find out if this status shows this type on there. Again, this is for manufacturing companies only. I also wanted to highlight for those of you Apex Accelerators out there who have been helping and assisting companies quite a bit, the describe what you do box, from what I understand, and I've been in helping a couple clients since this has just recently changed. This requirement used to be a 500 character box where you had 11 criteria that you needed to put in this describe what you do box. From what I understand, this requirement has changed and it's a little bit different. And possibly we can talk about this in a minute. It is now a 200 character max limit in this box, and it is not as complicated to get through. So I'm hoping that is what this is the rumor that I'm hearing. So maybe we can talk about
Robyn?
this. Yes.
Yes, this is Don again. That's correct. For the first iteration of the portal, there was a glitch that wasn't allowing the responses from the separate broke-out questions to extract properly to the signed DD2345 when it was generated in the portal. So for a workaround, we had to require everybody to consolidate their 9 or 11 responses, depending on if they're U.S. or Canadian, into the describe what you do box. But in August, we finally our portal development team is finally able to implement a fix where we don't have to do that anymore. So that's why we were able to decrease the character count under describe what you do, because now for the other separate questions, the responses that are now transmitting correctly to the DD2345 as originally intended.
Awesome. Very good. Thank you so much for clarifying that for us, Donald. That is good news because that was a heart that was something that kept me up at night, trying to help clients get through that system
Yeah.
and trying to get through that box.
Yeah.
And yeah, a lot of
It took a
headaches
little
there.
while to get that together. Yeah, because we had to get the funding together, of course, and so forth. So
Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much. Okay, so we are going to go through the checklist manager. Again, this is something that I developed as an Apex Accelerator. This is not something that DLA JCP endorsed or has done. So it's just something that I have created to help our clients. My staff and I use it. I have shared this with a few of my Apex Accelerator colleagues across the nation, and we'll be sharing this. Again, it's just something, a tool that I thought would be very, very helpful. But it may not be. You may work differently. I have clients that work very good when they have a checklist. I don't know if you are like that. I'm like that. If I have a checklist that I can go by, then it makes the process a little bit easier. So use it if you want. Do not use it if you don't want to. I'm not hurt either way. Again, this is something that I felt that was very useful to some of our clients. So have it called. It's called the JCP Checklist Manager. You'll notice here at the top that, and you can see this, Melissa. Is it showing up?
It is. I don't know if you could maybe shrink it just a bit, but yes, it's showing. We're just seeing the very top of it up to the tasks to complete number one.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to go through it step by step. So try to, yeah, I don't know how to shrink. I'm not real good at that. But so anyway, you'll see at the top here, categories. You can actually change the status of each of these steps. You'll notice that everything right now is kind of defaulted to not started, in progress, non-applicable, or completed. At the top, you're going to notice a little caption, or a little note here. It says, "Please complete your tasks in order," because a lot of these tasks, you need to have completed the first one completed before the next step. Not all the time, but a lot of times you do. So I kind of have them in order of importance of what needs to be done before you complete the next step. So also you can assign people. So if you get this checklist manager, you can take it to your team. You can have a team of people in your organization where you can assign a task to somebody and just list it in this manager. You can talk about when you think you can start on this. You can put it in when you anticipate this task is going to be completed to help you keep going with moving forward. And then I've also provided you with a little place where you can put notes if you have things that you want to note about that task. Again, this is going to be you can tailor this. Apex Accelerator colleagues out there, you can tailor this for your Apex Accelerator. You can put all of your counselors in there. So you'll notice that the question is, are you working with your Apex Accelerator? And you can put that in there saying, yep, I'm working with my Apex Accelerator. A lot of times when I'm working with a client, I will provide this checklist to them. A lot of the things on here, I know with working with a client, I know where they are in the process, so I can complete some of the steps for them and then send it over to them. So you will notice here, so this is task one. Again, this task needs to be done prior to your JCP application. A lot of times my companies will come to me and they had no clue that they need to be registered in SAM. You have to be registered in SAM before you even start your application. So you can assign this to somebody and you can put it's in progress. Assign this task to somebody in the company who's not doing the JCP application, but maybe that person is required to do the SAM application or keep that federal registration in place. Maybe you had a SAM application or a SAM registration, but it went inactive, but you didn't know it. So these are some steps that we like to make sure you understand. You're going to see on this last column or this first column here, letters. I have supporting documents that go with each of these tasks. So my staff and we've created a prep document to help companies get through their SAM. This prep document just helps them get their NAICS codes together, their banking information, everything that they need to get their SAM in place. So again, each of the tasks have a supporting document, and I provide all of those documents to my clients when I provide them this JCP checklist. This section here is, again, what I just mentioned in the PowerPoint. company, if you are a manufacturing company, you want to make sure that in your cage record, it lists that you are a US or Canada manufacturer. So that's something you can do. I've provided that cage link again, the cage homepage where you can go and have that completed. Also, I want to point out that each of the tasks have in each of these other the main task, and then each of the minor tasks under those, the larger tasks are associated with a number and a letter. And the reason I put that in there is because if you are working with a client, APEX Accelerator is working with a client, and you're working with your APEX Accelerator, and you have a question. Say you have a question on a certain step in this checklist manager. You can refer back to that task, and you can just tell your counselor, hey, I'm working on 1A right now. Can you provide me with more clarification on that? So I thought it was important to label each of those tasks. A lot of times a company doesn't know that they have a JCP in place. Maybe somebody else in the company did their JCP, and I kind of put this question at the beginning because I don't want you to go through an entire process of putting all this stuff together when you already have a JCP in place. So this question is in the first task. It's important for you to know that. And there is a document that's labeled G, which is down below, that will show you how to create a JCP portal account to find out. You can go in, put your cage code in there, and find out if your company already has a cage or a JCP in place. So I thought that was important for you to have at the beginning. The second step of your JCP process, again, is your cybersecurity, getting your NIST 800-171 self-assessment in place. This is a whole big, takes a lot of time to get this in place. So it's a large task. I usually work with companies. I help them. One of the things that I'll do for my companies, my clients, is I have an in-house cybersecurity training for them. I'm not an IT expert, but I do understand the Department of Defense's cybersecurity regulations and what is required of them to get through or to get to where they need to be compliant. So I usually tell my clients to get a team of anybody who's that needs to be on this team. It could be anywhere from 1 to 5 team members. It could be more than that. You bring a staff together. It should be your president, CEO of the company, an in-house IT person. It could be a third party you're outsourcing to a managed service provider to do your IT. You can invite them into this meeting. It could be a plant manager, your government contracting manager, or a sales team member, somebody who understands what takes place and what needs to happen for this cybersecurity regulations and compliance. So I usually tell you to get that team together, and then I will provide that in-house training. We will discuss the NIST 800-171 self-assessment, and then you will get your self-assessment score together. The APEX Accelerators, we have a lot of resources, free resources to help you and guidance on where to show you where to go to find those extra resources out there. The Department of Defense has a free resource for you called Project Spectrum. It's a great resource. They've got a lot of great trainings. You can do self-assessments on this website. So I provided you with a link to Project Spectrum. Also, we do webinars with Project Spectrum. We're going to be doing one here at our center coming up in the next couple months. I'm not sure of the date yet, hasn't been submitted, but again, I wanted to provide you with this. You'll see that there's a label B here. That means we have another resource for you. It's a free Excel spreadsheet that you can use to help you perform your self-assessment, and we give that to our clients. And all disclosure, we've actually stole that from somebody out there that's doing a cybersecurity company that's doing cybersecurity audits for companies or assessments for companies. So it's a great resource. It was provided to us, so we decided to use that tool. But you may find other ones on Project Spectrum. So the third task then is to create a PI account. If your company doesn't have a PI account, that's one of the first things you're going to have to do. Is you're going to have to determine who in the company is going to be your CAM. That is basically your admin on your PI account. And the reason this is important because PI is the place that holds the SPRS, I want to call it the SPRS account. So you have to have the PI account first before you go in and do your SPRS account. And the first person in the PI will be usually is considered the CAM. And this is a complicated, so it's really important why it's important to work with your APEX Accelerator to understand, you know, who the CAM is going to be. And what PI usually does is it is the person who is the electronic business POC in your SAM. If the CAM, and what will happen a lot of times is companies will come to say, hey, well, Joe wants to be the CAM. Well, is Joe the electronic business person in your SAM account, on your SAM profile? If they are not, then you can do one or two things. You can go into your SAM and you can go into edit your POCs in SAM and make John or Joe, whoever's going to be the CAM, make them the electronic business person. If you want to keep your electronic business person in SAM the same person, but they don't want to be the CAM, then you can actually have a CAM appointed by filling out a CAM appointment letter. And your APEX Accelerator can give you that CAM appointment letter, or I've given you a link here that you can go into PI and get more instructions on what you need to do to become the CAM. So again, the first person in your PI needs to be the CAM. They need to register first, and then they're going to request that CAM role. And we have some instructions that we can give you on how to do that. And then if that same person is going to be taking care of the self-assessment, a lot of times it's not. Sometimes the CAM person just wants to go in and be the admin on the PI account, but then they want their IT person to handle the SPRS self-assessment score. So your IT person would also go in, create a PI account, and then they would request a SPRS role from the CAM. And then the CAM would go in and then they would approve that role for your IT person to be that SPRS person. That has happened many times with my clients. Some other scenarios for you. Maybe you're already doing defense work. PI is also the place where you would have your wide area workflow, your better known as WAF, where you submit your invoices to DoD. So you might already have a PI account set up, but you don't have a SPRS role set up. So you would need to figure out who within your company already is managing that WAF account. They would most likely be the CAM on your company's. It's very complicated. Again, APEX Accelerators help you understand all of that and get you through all of that, but I provided you with some information here. So this is another whole step that could take some time and some processes to get through. Again, so a lot of times companies are not getting through the system or something will happen, they'll get locked out. I highly recommend that you use this number here. This is the PI's help desk. They're very helpful. It's very easy to get in. They've been very, very good to us APEX Accelerators as well. When we go in, we're working with a client, they assist us, and it's been usually a pretty fast process. So also use this number. So I provided that to you. The SPRS role, the CAM role and the SPRS role cannot be requested together. They are separate processes. Again, you must establish your CAM first, and then you would establish your SPRS. I provided you with another document here. You'll see letter C, which all of these documents that I have will all have the respective letter on. When I share these to my APEX Accelerator colleagues, all the documents will have the respective letter listed at the beginning of the document title. So you're not getting confused when you're trying to figure out which document goes with which step. They're all labeled with these letters. So this is to help you enter that self-assessment score in your SPRS. So once you get all through that, you're going to have to go in and enter your score. This document will help you. It's instructions on how to do that. All right, so now we've got through those major steps. Now we're getting to the JCP online portal and prepping for that. But I have a stop sign here. So again, remember when I talked about companies who maybe didn't know about the DLA, Defense Logistics Agency's DIBBS opportunities. So you thought you just needed a JCP. But now you found out a little bit, your APEX Accelerator gave you some information. Maybe you want to do DLA work as well. So I have you stop here because if you do want to do DIBBS work, you want to find out, are there extra opportunities for me through the DLA DIBBS? Then you need to go down to this step down here, step 5, which is optional. If you don't want to do DLA work, you don't have to do this step. But you must have your DLA registration in place before you can do the JCP application, because you need to have a username. You need to have an active account in the DLA DIBBS. So I've given you instructions here on how to get through that. Your APEX Accelerator can help you through this step. The process is a little bit not lengthy, but there is when you go to register with an account, there's a 10-day business where you'll initiate the process of registration, and then DLA will send you a postcard. It takes about 10 business days to get that postcard. You go back into the system with the postcard, and then you will initiate the rest of the application for registration for DIBBS. Here's something that I kind of wanted to, I put this extra note in here. I was working with a company who was doing their JCP application when they wanted to do DIBBS work. However, everything took longer than expected because they were trying to get their self-assessment score, their cybersecurity self-assessment score ready, and they let their DIBBS account expire. And then they went back, but forgot to initiate change their password every 60 days or log into the system every 30 days. And so when they went, they forgot all about it. So then when they went to initiate their JCP application, their DIBBS account was expired. So those are little things you've got to think about. So you want to keep that up to date. You want to go in, log in every 30 days, and make sure you change your password every 60 days. So keep it up. I don't know what you want to do to remind yourself of that. Do you want to put something on your calendar? I believe you do get a notice from DLA when that account needs changed. I'm not sure. I know with your Pi account, you get I think it's every 60 days you'll get a notice. You also need to update your password on there as well. So all these systems have usernames and passwords, and you really need to make sure you're staying up to date on that to continue to make this JCP process smoother. So then once that's all done, you can come back up to the JCP portal. We have questions again. So you're going to find out who is your data custodian. You're going to assign somebody in the company that's going to be responsible for making sure that there are appropriate safeguards on those unclassified documents. You're going to, that data custodian has to take that introduction to properly handling training. They have to take that. So I provide you with another document, which is actually this introduction to proper handling of export controlled data. We give you that. It's found on the JCP website as well. However, I just make things a little smoother. We give this to our clients when we're providing them with the checklist manager. I, as an APEX Accelerator, always check the DLA's JCP website to make sure I'm getting the most up-to-date information as well, because there may be changes. So I always go back to the DLA's website to make sure that document is up to date. I also provide my clients with a document that's called D2. That D2 is basically that page 15 of this slide deck. It makes it easier for you so you don't have to actually print it out. I've given it to you, but you need to make sure you take this training first and then fill out that page 15 of the slide deck. Another step if preparing for JCP is you need to have a Google Authenticator located on your phone and on your computer, because that's how you get into the JCP portal. I provided you with a link, and this link is actually from the JCP portal, that our website, where they give you instructions on how to set up that authenticator. It's a really some great instructions there. So giving that to you. And then I've also created another template for you. It's another tool. Basically, this template is every question that's in the JCP application is on this template. I don't know about you, but when I go into some of these portals and I have to answer all these questions, I get in there and realize I don't know the answer to this. So if I have the question ahead of time and I can put it in a template or something, then I'm prepared. And all I have to do is go into the JCP portal and just look at my template and all the answers are there and ready to go. It makes things go a little bit smoother. So I've created this document, this template. It'll be fillable. It's a PDF fillable document that I provide, and you can go in and put all your answers in there, and then you can transfer those answers over into your JCP application. So, or you're prepped and understand what needs to go into those questions. Here's another thing that you're going to need to provide JCP when you're doing your application. It's a document from your Department of State that shows that you're in good standing, or substance certificate, or your Secretary of State. So this section here is actually tailored to companies in Pennsylvania, because I'm an APEX Accelerator working with companies in Pennsylvania. So I have it linked up to the PA.gov, the Department of State, where you can find your good standing or substance certificate. DLA JCP has a great document on their website that actually has links to all of the state Department of States per state, and there's a hyperlink for each state, and I will provide that to my colleagues, APEX Accelerator colleagues, and you can actually tailor this Excel spreadsheet to the companies that you're working with. But right now, this is set up for our companies in Pennsylvania. Here's another thing, an experience that we go through. We have been told by DLA JCP that you can take a screenshot as long as you have all the appropriate, the URL link in there, the date that the screenshot of your good standing of your Department of State record. You can send that out, and that needs to be uploaded into your JCP portal. However, we have experienced some of the JCP approvers, the people that are looking at your applications. Some of them will not accept a screenshot. That happens from time to time. Thank you. So what you can do is then what I usually tell companies is don't even do the screenshot. Just go get it. It's like $40. I know for Pennsylvania, it's $40 to get your department. And this Department of State certificate has to be no older than 365 days. So just get it done. I don't think it takes too long to get. I believe it's like $40. So get that done, and that way it's not holding up your application, just in case you get one of those approvers who will not accept the screenshot.
Oh, Robyn?
Yes.
Oh, this is Don again. For clarification on that, even though we do accept screenshots, the screenshots have to meet certain criteria, such as they got to be time stamped so we can verify the time the screenshot was made. That's one of the primary reasons our analysts might not accept a screenshot. But yes, whenever possible, we highly recommend uploading copies of the official documentation if possible.
Okay. Thank you so much for that clarification. So here's some things. A lot of these questions here I do have on this template that you can enter your answers on this template, so you are ready. But you will need to find the IP address of the computer or laptop of the data custodian. This is the person that is going to be listed as the data custodian. You will need to find the IP address. This document F that we provide to you will help you understand how to find the IP address. Many times my clients, though, will have no clue how to do this, even with the instructions. So I usually suggest that they work with their IT person in the company, so that helps them get that. You will also need the physical address, the street, city, and state of where your data custodian's laptop computer is located. You will also need the IP address of the company's server. Again, a lot of the stuff you might need to get your IT person to understand how to do, but this document F will also give you some clarification on how to do that. This document G is the JCP portal user guide. This is right from the JCP's website. We provide this to our clients. Again, it's located on the website, but just to make things a little easier and smoother, we provide this with our clients when they're working through this process and working with us. Something I did not mention as something that we don't do a whole lot with, but step 6 just depends. You may need to comply. You may need to get registered with ITAR or be under the ITAR, the EAR compliance. These are things that you will have to find out. So I provide, I don't know what my colleagues use, but we have a document that we have that's right from the DDTC that we use, and we give the companies more information on understanding how to know whether or not the items that they're manufacturing or providing are on that U.S. munitions list or required to have export license or need to be a part of. You need to be in compliant with. So we give you more information on this. So this might be a whole nother thing, a whole nother step that you'll need to figure out. So, do we have any questions? That is all of my JCP checklist. Do we have any questions out there? Let's look at what we got here in the chat. I don't know if you guys have been answering these questions all along. Oh, yes, and that is correct. Yep, Donald wanted to know, or Melissa wanted to know, during the JCP application, you can assign a data custodian as well as an alternate data custodian. I have that on the template, so that you're aware that you can do that as well. Any questions out there? Do we have anything in the Q&A? No Q&A.
Robyn, we did get the last chat entry. An individual has like 4 questions.
Oh, okay, I see it.
Do you see that?
Yep, I'll read these off. Okay, so I'm going to read these, and then maybe we can get someone from JCP to actually answer them. Do all the people in the company have to be a data custodian who receives the information? I'm going to an example. If the product is made using a combination of a machinist, welder, quality engineer, shipping, does everybody have to be a data custodian or only one person? If only one is required, what is required for the data custodian to share the CUI data with others? Do all of the others take proper handling training? How to handle if anybody else is working on visas? How do you handle this if anybody has a work visa? So does anybody want to answer that? I know the answer, but I'd rather leave it up to the experts on this.
Yes, this is Don again. Yeah, everybody can't be data custodian because there's only one primary and one alternate data custodian permitted if an alternate was selected, which is optional. Basically, we do understand that multiple people in the entity will be working with tech data and so forth, but it's the data custodians that maintain the responsibility for making sure that that data is controlled and is only accessed by people with a need to know. The data custodians are just basically overseeing how the information is managed and transmitted. So in that case, yeah, the data custodian can determine, who else in the entity, can access that data on a need to know basis and so forth. And then also if sharing tech data with other entities, it's very important to verify that the other entity is JCP certified as well, to avoid any legal implications down the road.
Right. And also I just want to add to that. So if a lot of times, that you're like, you need that DFARS, those cybersecurity clauses in place. And typically if you are at a level 2 for the cybersecurity, your companies will have to have a system security plan in place, which actually directs you, has policies and procedures in place on how you transfer a lot of this tech data to individuals in your company, as well as ITAR. You're going to have a technical control plan in place if you have ITAR related items, which also will indicate whether or not you how it indicates how you can release that information to people in your company. So I just wanted to add that on there. Any requirements for a third-party company for PI, such as can you outsource an IT company may provide such services outside the U.S. I highly recommend that you do not let a third-party company handle your PI. That it needs to be in-house. I don't know if anybody else has anything that they want to say on that, but
this is Don again. Our office is aware that there are companies that will help assist with completing the NISPERS requirement. However, we don't personally endorse any of those entities. So if our vendors use them, they're basically doing so at their own risk.
Yeah. And I also, if you have a third party that's doing your self-assessment, that's fine. But have them give that. Most of my clients, what they'll do is that third party is providing them that self-assessment, and then they hand the score and that information over to someone in the company who is going to be handling the SPERS information, handling that information that goes into the SPERS. So hopefully we answered your question there. Any kinds of personnel company SPERS account? Any requirements for personnel company for SPERS PI account? No, it's just somebody that you want to dedicate as the person that's going to be handling your PI account. Is the JCP certification free of cost? Yes, it is. There's no fee for JCP. Of course, there might be some fees associated to keep up your other registrations, but JCP doesn't charge for a fee for their DD 2345 form. Correct. In APEX Accelerators, we are free as well. We assist you with all of this as well. Did I miss any questions, Melissa? I don't think.
I'm looking through. I don't think so.
Oh, Melissa did mention about the ITAR registration, that there is a fee to renew that, because I believe the ITAR/DDTC registration, that's renewed annually, and usually that renewal cost is around $3,000 or so.
Oh wow!
For DDTC.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've heard 3,000 now. Yeah, per year is the renewal fee.
Okay, so we have somebody who oh, I think that's an AI generated thing. Yeah, we do have a question in the Q&A, I believe. Our company just did a transfer merger. Our JCP enhanced certification is under the company that no longer exists, but the company that we merged to has a cage number. Can we transfer the JCP enhanced certification to the cage number? I'm assuming no. You would have to initiate a new one, but maybe Donald can confirm that.
Typically if the ownership structure changes, we recommend the entity submit a revision application so that to reflect that, particularly if the name is going to change or the address or anything major like that.
Okay, very cool. Any other major questions? Because I do see that we are at a little over the hour. However, my contact information will be provided in the slide decks if you have questions. Again, I will be submitting a survey to everybody who attended today. You will automatically get a recording of this session for today if you want to go back and look at it. I will be handing these JCP checklist and the other tools that I developed. I will be giving that to the APEX Accelerators and to their centers, and you can get that from them. So that survey that I put out will actually ask questions on, what state you are from, what county you're from, or who is your APEX Accelerator, and I will make sure I get that over to them. So if we don't have any other questions, I want to thank DLA's JCP office. I want to thank you guys. Donald, thank you so much. Thank you for Stephanie. Thank you for being here. I also have Stephanie sent me a slide deck for their JCP training, and again, there's an October 24th where Stephanie will be providing a training. I believe Stephanie will be on that, providing that training with the Ohio APEX Accelerator. So I will get the link for that and send that out with the survey as well. I want to thank everybody for coming today. I appreciate your time. I hope you found today's information beneficial. And again, work with your APEX Accelerator. That's what we're here for. We're your taxpayer dollars hard at work. Thank you again. Thanks to all my APEX Accelerators for helping out, supporting the event. Have a great day.